so we're live.
I can't see myself because there's tape over it, but I'm sure that looks okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to lean. So lean. That's it.
They don't know what we're doing.
No, they don't know what we're doing.
That,
yeah,
they think that was a bit weird.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
That's still a goodie, eh?
Yeah, that's still a goodie, mate. Yeah. So Simon Bridges loves reggae music. Bob Marley. That's good. Drummer there too, Simon.
I like the drumming. I like
the
drumming. Back in the day, I like the reggae too. It's a nice, nice little syncopated beat. Too good. Imagine going to a concert, a Bob Marley concert. That'd be pretty awesome.
You know when Bob Marley came,
the old fumes would be a bit strong, but.
91.7, 95.7 and 98.1, we are Tūranga FM with the sound of Savage and Hot Like Fire. And Hari Huruto Ki Akwe Savage, turning a big 37 years old today. A big happy birthday to you. It's just gone 26 after 7 here on your number one iwi station in Aotearoa. We are Tūranga FM. You're with the Wiz keeping you company right through till 10 o'clock. And my guest this morning is the leader of the National Party, who of course, Mr. Simon Joseph Bridges, sort of a Tauranga man, you know, born in October, good month to be born. And, you know, he's held a few portfolios in his time. You know, he was Minister of Transport, and then he became Leader of the House, and now he's the Leader of the National Party. Please welcome to our studio, Mr. Simon Bridges. Good morning to you, Simon.
Kia ora, it was great to be on your show.
And thank you very much. Is it your first time to Gisborne?
Not first time. No, I get here. Look, I get here a bit, actually.
Okay.
I know your local mayor, Meng, very well. I know your local MP, Anne, very well. So I come quite a bit. Look, when I was Transport Minister, Meng was very nice to me. He was always asking for a new road or some such thing. So, and the one I delivered a wee while back, that Motu Bridge. You know, that one. And so I still haven't driven over it yet, though, because I tend to have been flying in and flying out. So, but yeah, I would say I get here 2 or 3 times a year.
You know, it's interesting because the information that I can remember is that they tell me that you're the first person with Māori ancestry to serve as the leader of the National Party. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, if you think about it this way, there's many Māori in Parliament, so we know that. But what is true is in the you know, the parties, let's put it this way, where the leader can become the Prime Minister, National and Labour, I'm the first with Māori whakapapa. So, you know, it's a real privilege.
Yeah, so give us a bit of whakapapa about yourself then.
Ngāti Maniapoto, and my hapu is Kinuhaku, my marae is Oparuri, which is there just sort of a bit past Waitomo in the King Country. And actually, as I was just saying you off air, it's a sad week for me and for, you know, my hapu, because Kōrero Weturi, former minister in the government in the 80s, has passed. I was at his tangi earlier in the week. He was my father's cousin. Quite amazing, actually, if you look at them. They're real doppelgangers, I think is the word. They look the same, and you know, he was a great man. So that's my whakapapa. Actually, you said my name, Simon Joseph Bridges. Joseph is my middle name, of course, and my grandmother was a Naku Joseph. So the Joseph clan, including the likes of Jamie Joseph, he probably doesn't know it, but he's a cousin, and a few others besides.
Well done. Okay, so I've got some questions all lined up for you, Simon. So, what are you doing in Gisborne? That's my first question. What brings you to Gisborne?
Look, basically, I'm on a roadshow. So I'm a bit over halfway through. I've done more meetings than you've had hip hop breakfast in the last month or two, and basically big town hall style meetings. The good, the bad, the ugly come along. I speak for about 10 minutes, and then we open it up, and people throw anything at me. And so we're doing that at the Cosmopolitan Club.
Throwing questions.
Yeah, just questions. You know, not your tomatoes, not your bricks. Okay, your verbal assaults are okay, but nothing physical. And the reason for it basically sounds a bit corny, but it is to listen. You know, we were in government for 9 years. We got a lot right, but we didn't get everything right. So we want to sort of get a sense from people what they think we should be doing. And what's interesting about that is the themes, the things that people say, whether it's in Gizzy or whether it's in Wellington Central or whether it's in Gore at the bottom of the south, I'm finding they're quite similar, right? So great minds think alike. and that's very helpful for us as we think about plans for the future and what sort of a New Zealand we want to try and create. And then the second one is really, look, you said it yourself, I held a raft of portfolio senior ones, right? But what is true is until you become the minister, people don't really have a sense of you and who you are. And people have a right to, given that, you know, I'll be auditioning for alternative Prime Minister, if you like, to get that feel for me and who I am. And so I tell a little bit of my story as well. And that's a part of what this is about as well.
Yeah. So you got your meeting, which kicks off about 9:30 this morning.
9:30, Gisborne Cosmopolitan Club, and you know, I've got a breakfast shortly as well. So you know, all up, probably talk to. Always hard to know, but I would say we'll see hundreds today in Gisborne, and you know, get a bit of a sense of what's going on here.
Okay, cool. So I've got some questions lined up for you. So here's my next question. Will you be checking out our beaches while you're here, especially Waikanae beaches, once again covered in forestry slash?
Yeah.
And of course, you would have seen the state of Tolaga Bay on the news.
Yeah, I have. Look, my heart goes out to people who've been affected by all of this. Quite massive, what's happened, and you know, I'm sure that the cleanup is, by a lot of people's perspectives, taking too slow. In a sense, they always do. I am getting a briefing from, I think it's Civil Defence and your council, about what's going on. Hopefully we'll get to have a bit of a look. I'm not sure exactly about that. But look, as I say, you know, just my solidarity with you and everything that's going on there. Certainly the photos I saw, I didn't see so much TV news, but the photos I've seen in Gisborne Herald online and looking through, pretty amazing, eh? That I've learned a new word for it, but that slash. And the logging and the trees and so on, and just the devastation.
Yes, true. Now, the government's provided financial support, but not without Shane Jones putting the burden to the forestry companies, suggesting they may need to consider pulling out. How much of the financial responsibility for the cleanup lies with them, the forestry companies?
Honestly, I don't know. I haven't thought a huge amount about it. But I think, you know, what I anticipate at these public meetings is a bit of frustration about the forest companies. You know, they've got this need to have what some people call social license, right? That is to do, you know, as they get well off from their work, also to do well by the community. And I'd expect them to be, you know, part of the solutions and the cleanup there.
Okay, so forestry companies are blaming God. Now, this was all an act of God and couldn't be predicted, but there's this thing called climate change. Now, it happened to a lesser degree last year and it'll happen again next year. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's true. You know, climate change is happening. There's a lot of people at these public meetings, I've got to tell you, who come along and tell me it's a load of bunkum and they don't believe in it. I do. I think that the scientific consensus is for real. So I gave a significant speech for a National Party leader a week or two back, maybe a couple of weeks back at the field days over in the Waikato. And what I basically said is we're going to work with the government on enduring solutions for this. Without getting too technical, we're agreeing to setting up a climate change commission. And this is pretty significant because for this to endure, you know, I don't know when exactly. I hope it's in 2.5 years' time. I'll be working at it, but there'll be changes of government. And so whether it's red or blue or, you know, red and a little bit of black and green, you need a framework that's going to give us solutions over 10, 20, 30 years, and we're signing up to that. There'll still be disagreements about the day-to-day politics of it, and, you know, what it means for the farmers and what it means for, you know, coal mines and all of these things. But that's what we're doing because I'm with you. It's happening, and we can't bury our head in the sands. We need to find enduring solutions.
True. Now, you did mention that you're going to be meeting with the Gisborne District Council and Meng Foon and that. Now, the Gisborne District Council won't have any answers for another 6 months. What do you think about that? Is that good enough?
It seems too long. I'll be in fair to them though. More than fair, I think. And that's this: your council, in the scheme of life, and there's many in the same boat, is a relatively small council. Its resources will be stretched. It only gets what it gets from you know, ratepayers like yourself, and that's a limited pool. So, you know, I wouldn't be too critical of them as much as government also needs to be at the table when there's significant events like this. They're the ones with the capability and the capacity to get the New Zealand Transport Agency, you know, the guys who clean, girls who clean up the road, to get the various other agencies, civil defence, in around the table and move this faster. And, you know, in a sense, what I know about these things, because I remember Honganui where there was some serious flooding and we had to come in pretty strongly there. I'm just trying to think of some other ones. Kaikoura, obviously, a different scale again with the earthquakes. These things always lead to frustration, never happen fast enough. But 6 months does seem too long.
True. Now, I can remember when Bill English was taking with the National Party, and he talked about Kiwi Rail quite a bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about the line opening up from, I think it's Napier to Wairau now, for karting logging?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, right? Well, all I would simply say to you is this, and I can be really frank now because I'm not in government, and so the burden of it all doesn't rest on me. It did for a while, actually, and we put billions in to Kiwi Rail, by the way. So when people say we weren't there for the party on it, we were. We put as much into Kiwi Rail as we put into our roads of national significance that some people love, some people don't. It's all great. It's all good. People love rail. They love the idea of it. They love the romance of it. They think it's always going to be amazing. But there's no point doing it if you're carrying containers filled with thin air, right? That actually needs commercial clients and customers that are going to use it. And so, my kind of challenge to, if it's Shane Jones who's sort of riding in on the white horse and saying it's going to be amazing and so on, that's all good. You can be the sort of flash guy that does that, but are there actually commercial customers that will use it and make it work? Because if there aren't, and we were just talking about your council, at the end of the day, they'll end up having to pay for it year in, year out. You'll have to pay for it. And if it's travelling with thin air on top, it just doesn't make any sense. So that's my sort of, I suppose, reasonably hard-hitting message. Yep, we all like rail, but it actually needs to work and stack up, and I'm just not convinced it does.
So I was just reading in our local Gisborne Herald that they're opening up the line from Napier to Wairau for karting loggings and all that sort of stuff. I don't know why they won't bring it into Gisborne. Right. We've been fighting for years to get the rail from Gisborne going and stuff like that. Has there been support from the government to get that up and running from Napier to Wairau, or is that on a different...
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Look, I think, as I say, my sort of vague recollection of it is, and I stand to be corrected, but that the government sort of talked a bit of a big game here on this, but they haven't quite followed through on any of that yet. I mean, the tourism possibility is potentially exciting, right? I mean, that would be cool as well. But here's the problem when it comes to forestry, right? And people always say, oh, well, get the logs on rail. That's a great idea. But the problem with that is they have to put the logs originally on the trucks, right? Because they're deep in the forest. And then they move those trucks into the rail, and then they move them onto the rail, as I say. That double handling ends up costing a lot more money. It makes the thing uneconomic quite often. That's been the problem in the north, and I suspect it will be the problem here. I don't know why I'm saying all this, because I tell you what I know. I know that your listeners will be saying, nah, rail's great, go for it, we should do it. I'm just giving you a word of caution that it sounds really cool. It generally, often, doesn't stack up, and you can spend the money, but it just might not, as I say, stick up. Okay.
I know you've got to go to a breakfast show. We're going to just a couple more questions, very short ones. Okay. So what's your thoughts? We're going to go off the track a little bit. What's your thoughts on act leader David Seymour on Dancing with the Stars?
I tell you what, I originally thought, no way, terrible, what's he thinking? But I got to say, kudos to him at the end for a massive amount of courage, for getting up every day and doing it. And I got to, not that he was low in my estimation, but he went up in my estimation because he saw it through. He had 10 out of 10 for courage. Maybe sort of 3 out of 10 for coordination, but 10 out of 10 for courage.
Do you reckon we'll see Simon on Dancing in the Stars in the next series, maybe?
No freaking way, my friend.
Okay, just a couple more. Here we go. Just to lighten the mood a little bit. I mean, you talk about babies. I mean, you just become a father. Your baby's only, what, 6 months old? 6 months old.
Yeah.
Now, so congratulations to you. Now, Jacinda and Clark, their baby, Neve, Garoha, Ardern, and Gayford, is half Gizzy.
Yeah.
So Clark's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gayford, live here in town. They may not be happy about what you said about the moko having pinko parents. So enlighten us on pinko parents.
Just a very light-hearted Hauraki interview. It's what they say, my friend, about DJs like yourself leading silly politicians like me down the garden path. But it seemed good fun at the time. You know, as I said then, I wish these guys all the very best. It's a real blessing for them. Yeah. And, you know, I presume the little one will get back here a bit, actually, given what you've said about the grandparents hailing from here.
True. All right, Simon, look, we've run out of time. I'm getting all the signals and everything like that.
I know you've been distracted by those people out
so
there.
I'm getting this and I'm getting that, and I know because you're a busy man and you've got a breakfast to attend to. So look, hey, enjoy your stay in Gisborne, and it's been a pleasure to meet you, the leader of the National Party. I'm overwhelmed with joy, and please accept me as your friend on Facebook.
You're my friend. Hey, kia ora, it's been good to meet you.
Kia ora to you. Now, Simon, we're going to end off with one of your favourite songs. Tell me what it is.
Oh, look, bit of reggae from the master, of course, Bob Marley, and it's I Shot the Sheriff. Now, don't read any sort of views into my Law and Order views from the title of this song.
Okay, kia ora.